Greetings, my name is John Gleiser. I've been a music educator for over 7 years, and I'm here to tell you that band can be done safely. I'll be talking about quants, and what a quant is basically the amount of virus it takes to have a good chance of getting the disease. Mitigations, my formula uses the mask as a 50% reduction, and there are more mitigations that can be put into the formula. That's just the main one that I'll be using. The formula does use CDC recommendations of social distancing 6 by 6 feet, and also cleaning the environment, making sure that all the surfaces have been cleaned that are used. Raw numbers, 970 quants an hour is a super spreader case, something you don't want. We're trying to not reach that if we can help. Resting, oral breathing, this is what students will be doing in the classroom when they're not talking, they're not answering, they're just listening. 2.0 quants an hour. Resting and speaking, 9.4 quants an hour. This has been found to be similar to wind instrument playing. Resting and loudly speaking, this is a child answering a question, 60.5 quants. Standing, oral breathing, this is 2.3 quants. This is similar to what our percussion and our bass guitar and guitar player will be doing. Standing, loudly speaking, this is the teacher lecturing. This is what they'll be doing, and you can look at the other numbers to see how the numbers go up as you increase heart rate and breathing rate. Risk factors, I've come up with two different scenarios. One is worst case scenario, one is best case scenario. For the general classroom, worst case scenario, no one's wearing masks and the air is not filtered. Best case scenario, everyone wears a mask and the air is recycled 3 times per hour. For band, the worst case scenario is there are no mitigations done and the air is not filtered. Best case scenario, the bell covers on the brass, the flutes with socks, the clarinets and saxophones in bags, percussion wearing masks, and the instructor wearing a mask with amplification, and the air is recycled 3 times an hour. The instructors wearing amplification, the microphone right there allows us to not have to yell. We can just speak in our normal voice, in our normal volume. Worst case scenario, I kept 25 students as our control so that way it wouldn't change. No masks, room size, 600, 1200. 1200 is actually less than my room, but I'm using it to round up or round around. Air changes, you can see that if a instructor in a general classroom comes in with the disease, there's a 3.49% chance that every student has of getting that disease. In band, it's a 1.47% chance. If a student comes in and they are positive, and there's a 0.22% chance in a general classroom that they will exchange it off and somebody else will get it. In a band class, that is 1.83% chance. This is on averages of instruments, not instrument specific. This is the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, same number of students, masks, everybody's wearing a mask, the room sizes stay the same, the air changes per an hour is now 3. This is what I feel is we can get to easily. And the percent chance spread, if the instructor in the general classroom, 1.2%. For the band, 0.09% chance. If a student comes into the classroom, in the general classroom, and they are positive, every student has a 0.15% chance of getting the disease if they are all wearing masks. For band, if a student comes in who is positive and we're wearing masks, air changes per an hour, that percent that every student has is 0.63%. Less than 1% chance that each student has of getting it if somebody comes in with the disease. The formula I used, this is it right here. This is not private information. This is out there. You can find all this information in the COVID folder for NFHS. Speaking of, our professional organizations recommend, these are their recommendations. The NFHS, or the National Federation of State High School Associations, has said masks are suggested to be worn at all times. CDC guidelines for social distancing. Indoor rehearsal should last 30 minutes, followed by clearing the room for 20 minutes. This was not a part of my formula, so doing this will make the numbers go down even further. Our state music educators association says assign students their own instruments, music folders, and supplies. We were planning this already, but if you're a band director who has to share instruments between students, we're gonna have to find a way around that. It limits the amount of exposure. Follow scientific recommendations and organize smaller groups when possible. This is pretty much a band rehearsal unless you've got the perfect band where all you have to do is do the macro and you don't have to worry about every student playing right notes and or playing the correct style and everything. And you can just worry about the band, great for you, but mostly we're fixing things and having smaller groups playing at one time. This, once again, will limit the amount of exposure. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, says implement multiple mitigation strategies. That is what we are doing. We are talking about air ventilation, we're talking about bell covers, we're talking about masks, we're talking about cleaning the environment, we're talking about all kinds of different mitigation strategies. Encourage preventative practices that we will have to encourage our students to keep out of groups or close groups. We'll have to social distance and to wash their hands. Maintain healthy environments. It's cleaning off surfaces. Develop plans for positive cases and those showing symptoms. Our administration should be on that. If you don't know what this is, please ask your administration. They should be able to tell you these things and communicate with proper authorities. Once again, administration. Supporting data, all this I have found either through the NFHS, their Google Drive folder that they've shared on their website, or there are two other things that I've got information from. One being Andrew Hugiel, who is the professor at the University of Leicester. He has put up information on the rates of breathing for musical instruments, and Donald Stauffer's research on the volume of a musical instrument performer, how much they use. In conclusion, band can be safe. And the ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act, is very clear that students should have a well-rounded education that includes broad curriculum, including music. NFHS has stated education-based sports, performing arts, and other activity programs are essential to the health and well-being of high school students. The Vienna Philharmonic study revealed when playing an instrument, the musicians, faced no additional risk of transmitting the novel coronavirus when performing. No additional risk. The Army Band in West Point stated there is an agreement between all of the research collected that wind instrument playing seems to present about the same risk as normal breathing and talking. I am not an epidemiologist. I have looked for as much research as I can find on both sides showing whether or not band is safe or not. And what I have found in all of my research is it can be done safely. It can, and we can do this safely. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, email me, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.